It's toughest on parents unable to care for their child. It's reality for many. So this morning we're talking about a solution. The Safe Haven Law, also known as Baby Moses Law. This gives parents a safe and legal option to leave their infant with an employee at a designated safe place like a hospital or fire station. But I want to be clear. In order to be protected under this law, the baby has to be physically given to another person. One organization offering parents a legal alternative that doesn't require an in-person handoff is Safe Haven Baby Boxes. The nonprofit is nationwide and has a presence in Texas, but currently it's not in Houston. Kelsey, founder of Safe Haven Baby Boxes, is here to talk about the organization. Monica, good morning. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
Talk to us about this effort. I understand this became a personal mission for you.
You know, back in 1973, there was no Safe Haven law, and my birth mom was 17 years old, gave birth to me, and 2 hours after I was born, abandoned me. And so I've dedicated my life now to giving parents this option of surrendering their child legally at a fire station or hospital, whether it be by handoff or in our electronically monitored boxes if they want anonymity. And some parents want that anonymity piece. It's important to them. And so now we have joined the state of Texas in allowing that in some communities. However, Houston has not jumped on board yet.
I understand with this very difficult decision for these families. Talking to some of the people who have experienced this type of situation, regardless of which end they're on of the transaction, they talk about shame and judgment. This effort, this work that you do, the mission of the work you do, is it to mitigate, is it to cut back on that judgment, on that shame?
Yeah, you know, I mean, we're seeing all over this country where babies are being dropped at the doors of Safe Haven locations. You know, in Nebraska, a few months ago, there was a baby that was laid at the door of the fire station. And so this parent did everything possible to go to the fire station to surrender legally. However, she didn't hand the child to a person. She laid the child on the ground. And so that became an illegal abandonment. And so she did everything possible, though, to keep her child safe, except the face-to-face interaction that the law requires in Nebraska. And so when Safe Haven Baby Boxes comes in, we take that shame away. We take that judgment away, and we don't ask names. We don't know who you are. These boxes call 911 on their own, and these babies are picked up within 2 minutes on an average time that the baby is placed in our box. And you know, we're in 19 states now. We have 250 active baby boxes in the nation, and I'll tell you, Houston is my #1 city right now that we need to do more in. We have to be out there educating. We have to be out there giving parents this anonymous option, because if we don't, we're going to continue to do the same thing, and babies are going to continue to die in the neighborhoods there in Harris County.
Where is the closest box to Houston?
Closest box to Houston is definitely going to be up in Abilene or Lubbock. Those are the only 2 boxes in the state of Texas currently. On Wednesday, I will be in Corsicana blessing that box. That will become the 3rd box in the state of Texas.
Where was the first box implemented in the country?
Actually, it was at my fire station in Woodburn, Indiana. I'm a retired firefighter and medic, and I have been the recipient of a Safe Haven baby where a mother walked up to me and handed me her child. And it's uncomfortable for us as first responders, but it's one of the most beautiful, selfless acts a parent can do. But Woodburn, Indiana became home of Safe Haven Baby Box #1 in the nation, and then on Wednesday, Corsicana will become the 259th baby box in the country.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible to see that work grow and to see the effort expand from 1 box to more than 200. That's just absolutely incredible. How do you first responders know when a baby is inside? I know you talked about it being automated and within a matter of minutes, medical personnel are on scene. But how is that notification relayed to these folks?
You know, the best way to kind of tell you how it works is the life alert buttons that are around, your older people's necks. So if they fall at home, and there's not a phone near them, they just push the button on this life alert, and 911 shows up. The box is designed almost identical to that. It does it on its own. So as soon as the parent opens the door, the immediate 911 call goes out. When the baby's placed inside, a second call goes out. That call is not connected to the first one. So if one was to fail, this is a fail-safe system. And then once the door is shut, the box actually locks. And so nobody can come behind this parent and take this child out. These boxes are climate controlled. And these babies the average time is 2 minutes. Our protocol, though, is 5 minutes or less. And no baby that we have had surrendered in our boxes has been in those boxes for more than 5 minutes. The longest time was 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And that's because they were actually not even in the building when the baby was surrendered in the baby box. They had to come back to the facility and take the child. So 4 minutes and 20 seconds, that's a huge difference from a 6-hour baby that's been placed in a dumpster and found by dumpster divers like the case in Hobbs, New Mexico.
Wow. Talk to us about, if the guardian is putting the baby in the box, is there an option if they decide to change their mind? Talk to us about what that scenario looks like.
There definitely is an option for them to change their mind. It is a process, though. They will be, an investigation will be opened up. A DNA test obviously would have to be done because nobody sees these parents, place these infants in these boxes. But the Department of Child Services would get involved to make sure that this child is safe and that this child isn't going to end up in an unsafe environment. We have been successful in helping a parent reunify with a child. So it does happen occasionally. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.
You said 250 boxes as of this coming week?
259, yes.
259. So out of all, is there any of these boxes, obviously 2 are just about to come online, are there any boxes that have not been used?
Oh, yeah. The boxes are kind of like, it's a last resort option for parents. We have a baby box at my firehouse, and the baby that was handed to me was actually physically handed to me. And so that's always our protocol. And so I can't say that my box was used. Our fire station was used under the safe haven law. And so, there are some of these boxes that haven't been used, but we often say that it's better to have a box and not need it than to need a box and just not have it.
Absolutely. Monica Kelsey with Safe Haven Baby Boxes, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
We appreciate it.